Oh, good morning, y'all. So, real quick, I just wanted to talk about the manipulation of the electric flow in your home. Um, I bring this up because recently, um, my the refrigerator, um, has been freezing the food, um, in the refrigerator, the fresh food, right? And this refrigerator is not old. It's not an old refrigerator. We didn't even have it for more than 5 years, I don't believe. And when you can, in temperature, we don't keep it that high. We don't necessarily keep things, in the area that blocks the air vent or anything like that. So, I was thinking, okay, what else can basically, you know, cause the refrigerator to freeze the food? So I started doing some research. I went online. First thing that came to mind was a power surge, right? And then I'm also thinking about how there are several cities and states across the U.S. that are warning of increased power usages. Increased power, not just because of heat, but just in general. People have been complaining about increased electrical bills, right? Remember when I told you all that in scalar weaponization, it basically uses like the electrical it basically uses the energy that is emitted from electrical appliances, the electrical wires in your homes and everything. It basically takes the charge from those devices and it channels it into a tight funneled beam, and then that's what they use to basically create the beam that's being directed into your body, or they use the they increase the power, they increase the amount of flow, the dirty electricity that's flowing into your home, so that they can create a more um, radioactive environment, um, you know, uh, towards your body, because remember, if you're being targeted, they're basically trying to kill you with electromagnetic radiation. So one of the best ways to do that is if you have access to a person's, if you have access to the target's electrical, circuitry around at home, you basically just cause the entire home or the apartment to use more electricity than it needs to. Now, I thought about that, and like the last time, like if you remember, like about a month and a half ago or something, where we had to replace our printer because when we called the HP guy, and he did the remote access investigation or whatever, and it said that the printer cartridge head was damaged. So then he asked me, well, sir, have you experienced a power surge recently? I was like, no, everything's been working fine, but we haven't experienced a power surge. And then I think about it, well, the handlers know that my mother and I, we use our printer, well, she uses it a lot more than I do. So and then she does a lot of work for other people, so in her church and things of that sort. So she's always printing things. So in order to basically try to see if they can annoy her or stress her out, what they would do is, well, and if she gets stressed out, it basically trickles down to me. So what they would do is cause a power surge to the printer to damage the inner parts of the printer. Now, what they can also do is also cause a power surge to your refrigerator, which will damage the inner parts of your refrigerator. Anything that they want to try to damage, because remember, they're basically seeing the world and every single electronic device or anything that produces an electromagnetic field. They basically like find the field of that thing, and then I don't know exactly how they're seeing it, but I've seen videos on how people use cameras, like they like DIY stuff, like they built cameras that can see electromagnetic fields of electronic devices. And the military, they use these types of technologies too, but that's usually in the battlefield and stuff like that, but hey, military weapons and technology get stolen all the time. We just don't hear about it. So trust me, I still remember about that. I still remember that nuclear warhead that just went missing, that was supposed to be transferred from I think it was supposed to be transferred from like somewhere East Coast going west, and then all of a sudden that shit disappeared. I don't know how a nuclear warhead just disappears, but hey. So when you think about it, always keep in mind that anything that's electronic or running, like anything that's electronic, that is how they're basically, if it's electronic, that's in their realm. Everything they do is based on electronics. Everything they do is based on electronics. Especially if you just get something, and like if you get a brand new phone, and the phone is overheating real fast, and it's a brand new phone, there's no reason why the phone should be overheating or the battery should be dying fast. That is because they're pushing or exerting the amount of energy that is supposed to be used for that device. So it's like, remember in Scalar, I need to read that document. I mean, even though it's written in 1984, scalar weapons, it's called Star Wars Now, scalar weaponization, and then it mentions something about the Soviet Union. If you need me to, just like put in the comments that you want to know how to read that document. Let me know. I will send it to you, or I'll just put it in the comments or something like that. But it basically it forces a power surge in an electronic device to be able to disrupt or completely destroy the inner parts of that electronic device. Now, I'm living in a public housing building, right? Now, I don't, with public housing, you don't necessarily pay electricity, at least not in this housing complex. We don't pay electricity. But here's the thing, for everyone else, because I definitely have noticed spikes in my electrical bill when I was living in another apartment in a different borough. Same city, different, or for some of y'all who don't live in like cities and stuff, so it's like New York City, we have like neighborhoods, and then there's boroughs, and then then you got a borough. Well, I guess you could consider borough like a town. I don't know what you would really consider a borough, but like for example, if you're in North Carolina, well, I don't really know how you would explain it, but yeah. So yeah, because I don't know, New York City is kind of weird when you think about geographically, because like Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, they're like big enough to be towns, but then there are like inner neighborhoods inside of those. But anyway, yeah, so basically what they do is they cause power surges to disrupt or completely destroy the inner parts of your electronic devices. When your phone gets too hot, and then even when you like kind of just like wave your hand over it and you feel this incredible amount of heat over it, they're basically forcing your phone to, use more battery than it needs to. It's over exerting the battery. And I've only had my phone since about December of 2020. So, I mean, yeah, my battery health is probably like I haven't changed the battery at all. So I think my battery health is at like 82%, something like that. But yeah, but I've also made the connection between knowing that our cell phones are basically connected to our body, our central nervous system, because they're using the sensors in the phone. Even when we're unaware of it, they're using the sensors of the facial recognition sensors in the phone to like scan our activity. Then they're also using the speakers of the phone to emit the infrasound that, even though you can't necessarily hear it. I learned that like if you were to cover, like let's say you cover the earpiece where you would put the phone to your ear, they emit infrasound from there too, and that's also resonating with our brain. And because we're connected basically to the satellite, like we're all connected to the satellite through our pineal gland. They're constantly sending and receiving information to our bodies. But yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can, basically reset my refrigerator, but everything in there is frozen now. Like, I get up to try to make like some omelets or frittata or whatever, and then everything is frozen. Like everything is frozen. So basically, they're gonna call themselves trying to, I guess, freeze my food supply, right? So, yeah. But that's it for now. Just be aware. Don't allow yourself to get too frustrated. If something electronic in your house isn't working, just let it go. Don't allow it to, don't allow it to fluster you. Just remember that if it's electronic that's in their realm, they really don't have no other power than to just fuck with your electronics. Because, I mean, obviously, like, they either try to sneak and do shit when you're not home, or they try to fuck with you electronically. They're not like normal, criminals that, that'll do shit to you when you are fully aware that they're gonna do shit to you. They gotta do things secretly and covertly. Why? Because, well, they're human traffickers in a sense. They covertly create situations so that you become frustrated, and then when you act out, then everybody who's been already, contacted by the flying monkeys, they would basically say, yeah, we told you that's the crazy person, da 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 da, because they all have a narrative already spent about you. Now what they have to do is they have to do all these covert things to try to direct you into a path to where you are basically being forced to react or act out in a way which is really self-defense. But for them, it's like, yes, we got him. He actually took the bait. So just always remember, they're gaslighting you in every way possible. Whatever they do, always record it. Always record everything. Because everything that's done in the dark always come to light. And you know what? Humanity is filled with, no human is perfect. So just always remember, no human is perfect. At some point, they're gonna have an error, and it's going to be one of the worst errors that they have made in their whole their whole agenda of trying to do things to you. So just always keep in mind that they are basically, well, they're here to actually make you stronger. When you think about it, they're here to make you stronger. They're here to make you wiser. They're here to actually make you see why, the Creator chose you out of everyone else in the world to go through things that you would actually be stronger than them at overcoming. Always remember that. Always, always, always. And strange thing. So last night, I was, trying to be intimate with, my partner, and obviously I'm already fully aware that, they're watching everything. I'm hearing them, all in the background. He has no idea, da da da. They're saying everything to make me doubt myself, even in the moment, and she doesn't get V2K, so I'm thankful she don't get that, because V2K, forget all of the attacks on the body. The V2K is probably the worst, because it's basically like having that little devil man sitting on your shoulder all day long, all night long. Even when you sleep, when you wake up, the first thing you hear is their voice. It's like, right, and you know what? It's like, I kind of tell myself all the time, the best thing about all of this is knowing that you know what it is. The moment you know what it is, then you can start to transition yourself, and you can start preparing yourself on how to actually handle it. And the worst part is when people don't know that all this stuff is being orchestrated against them. That's the part that really affects people the most, is that, they don't know that it's being orchestrated against them. So, that's why I try to do everything I can to be as articulate, and anything that I ever say, it always has some proof or bearing behind it. I can pull up a study that shows, well, okay, scientists are using this type of technology to do this, but think about someone who has a nefarious mindset, and then they see that, well, if you can do that, then think on the flip side what you can do if you use it for a different reason. And that's the problem with humanity. Humanity is filled with, people who are left or right, and then you got some who are in the middle that can be swayed either way, so, but yeah, I also had they did a dream manipulation too, and then, I seen relatives, basically in my dream, how does it look? It basically looked like somebody, some relatives were looked like they were trying to gain access to my room, and I'm like, my room is, I'm not gonna lie, my room isn't, well, it's not all that clean, because remember, I moved from my apartment back into, my mother's apartment. So everything I had in my apartment is just I tried to fit everything in my old room. But so it's my cousins, it was different cousins, and they were all opening my bedroom door and then to look inside, and I was just like, no, don't look. And they were all looking, and I was just whatever. So, and then as I was thinking, as I awakened, they basically were the handlers, they were basically Chris has no idea, there's so many people watching your videos, there's so many people watching you right now. And this is why I love the fact I found that Steve Hoffman TED Talk, where he did that that TED Talk in China. It was at some type of technology conference in China. And he literally says in the conference, there's technology that if you wanted to, let's say, see the life of Elon Musk through his eyes, you can do that. He says it. Like, he says it. So it's like it's not even like a denial that like this stuff is possible. Like, he literally says that like if you wanted to actually see like your favorite celebrities lives their life, you can do that. But he words it in a way like making it sound like, you know, oh, but if he allows you permission. Keywords, if he allows you permission. We didn't get to allow nobody permission. They just did it on their own. See? But anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it for now. If anything else happens, I'll let y'all know. Right now, I just got my fridge unplugged. Everything is frozen. I might just have to, go out and buy some food or whatever. Luckily we had some like food from like last night, so she just heated that up, and she's gonna eat that. So, but yeah, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.